I'm Sunsport's Lloyd Canfield, and this is Football Files. We have to talk about Chelsea. Sorry, world champions Chelsea. If you told me they'd be lifting the Club World Cup again back in 2022, I'd have laughed you out of Cobham, probably offered you a tinfoil hat while I was at it. And that's because since Todd Boehly took over that year, Chelsea have finished 12th, 6th and 4th. Their transfer strategy has been described as baffling, and they've sacked 3 managers. So how did we get here? Let's take it back to 2022. The UK government freezes Abramovich's assets over his alleged ties to the Russian state. Suddenly, Chelsea can't sell tickets, can't operate normally. You can't even go in the club shop to buy that weird ziggy-zaggy away kit. It's panic stations at Stamford Bridge. We had these mad theories flying around, like Chelsea being made extinct, relegated to League 2, or forced to play in the park with a borrowed ball. At one point, I genuinely debated offering myself up to play number 9, and I scored 2 goals for Ashby Athletic last season. It still might have worked out better than Romelu Lukaku did. Pure chaos. Then, like a phoenix, or more accurately, a consortium of American investors with pockets deeper than the Grand Canyon, Todd Boehly arrives.
A new era for Chelsea, and I think everybody should be really excited for it.
I think Chelsea fans will see a much improved match day experience.
It is a new chapter in Chelsea's history.
We want the best, regardless it's a big club. It's a big club. We're winners.
Fans thought stability was coming. Instead, they got something totally different. There was a total overhaul behind the scenes. Marina Granovskaya left, Petr Cech gone. New faces slowly began to arrive off the pitch though, with Joe Shields from City, Paul Winstanley from Brighton, and about a million others. And Willie Isa, yes, an ex-rugby league player turned cultural architect, was brought in as well. If there's one thing that defines Todd Boehly's era at Chelsea so far, it's been signings. In the Americans' first year in charge, the Blues spent over £540 million. It started like a bat out of hell and hasn't really slowed down since. In the summer of 2022, Raheem Sterling, Kalidou Koulibaly, Wesley Fofana and Marc Cucurella arrived for a combined fee of around £210 million. Big fees for defenders, sure, but not extravagant compared to some of their Premier League rivals. Pep Guardiola's Man City, for example, have got an army of £50 million defenders. The recruitment seemed reactive, a mix of patching holes and chasing names. Even the likes of a washed-up Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi were linked with the club, without a clear long-term vision, or any long-term vision whatsoever.
Good to be with you. It's all agreed between Chelsea and Benfica for Enzo Fernandez. How are Chelsea doing it? How are they spending so much money? This morning they spent 180 million in this window and they weren't done yet. Now they've got Fernandez, they've added to it big time. How are they doing?
Enzo Fernandez arrived for a Premier League record fee of £107 million. The Blues blasted London rivals Arsenal out of the water for Mykhailo Mudryk. The £115 million Caicedo arrived the following summer, breaking the Premier League record again, alongside a clan of young talent. We're talking Palmer, Jackson, Madueke and Christopher Nkunku. Boehly and co have also invested smartly in some of the most talented under-18 players in the world. Esteval Willian, Kendry Paez, Giovanni Quenda and Mike Penders were snatched up to secure Chelsea's extremely long-term future. So what is the strategy? It might look like throwing wads of cash at teenagers and hoping they turn into the next Drogba or Lampard, but it's perhaps more visionary than it is reckless. One thing is for sure, it's changed the way clubs and UEFA think about spending. What's notable is that Chelsea didn't just target young players, they also locked them into unusually long-term deals. This was a calculated move to spread the cost of transfer fees over more and more years in the club's financial reporting, known as amortization. Clubs typically amortise fees over 5 years, which Chelsea pushed to 8 or more, dramatically lowering the annual cost on the books and allowing them to spend heavily while staying within financial fair play limits. UEFA quickly responded. From the 23-24 season, they introduced a cap of 5 years for amortization purposes. In effect, Chelsea's creativity closed the loophole for everyone else after they'd already made good use of it. Of course, 8-year contracts are hugely risky. If a player's performance dips, they suffer a big injury, or they end up being accused of using banned substances, Then they'll rot in the reserves while sitting on big wages. Raheem Sterling returned to Chelsea this summer on his monstrous £325k a week pay packet. Chelsea received no more than 50% coverage of that amount last season when he was on loan at Arsenal. But it's been a mixed bag of success and failure. Cole Palmer has clearly worked out and is tied down to play at Stamford Bridge until pigs can fly, alongside a host of other successes. If Chelsea were to sell their star asset, they'd almost certainly receive a Premier League record fee, with PSG reportedly interested at around £250 million. And there have been some shrewd sales. Ian Marston and Noni Madueke have both recouped chunky fees in the past 2 seasons, as well as Broja and Ugachukwu more recently. So perhaps the jury's still out.
It's very difficult to do this without swearing.
Chelsea, in the last few moments, have parted company with Thomas Tuchel.
Chelsea FC has announced that Graham Potter has departed the club.
We're taking your calls this morning, Chelsea fans. Your thoughts on Poch's departure? I don't know what these people want.
Since Todd took over, Chelsea have had 5 managers, if you include interim boss Frank Lampard. Champions League winner Thomas Tuchel, who was beloved by the fans, was sacked just weeks into the season after reported clashes with the American owner. Graham Potter was hired from Brighton as a long-term project coach, given a 5-year deal and fired after 6 months. Then we come to club legend Super Frank Lampard, the team's all-time top goal scorer, brought in as a caretaker manager, won 1 game out of 11, gone again. Mauricio Pochettino showed signs of stability with a top 6 finish and even got the best out of Parma and a result out of Jackson. He still mutually agreed to part ways after 1 season. So we come to Enzo Maresca, the latest man in the hot seat. Young, innovative, got clear ideas. He's delivered 2 trophies, but you still get the feeling that he's 1 bad run or bad season away from the chop. This will contrast sharply with the language we've heard from Boehly and BlueCo since day one. We're building a long-term project. We believe in stability and development. So what makes Maresca different? Why is he the one to lead the so-called project? Well, for starters, he's tactically modern. His clever setup is flexible, using players in roles that get the best out of them. Clearly influenced by Pep Guardiola, who he worked under at Manchester City. Since he joined, Chelsea have also developed a bit of a thing for Man City academy players who also worked with Maresca or know the style taught to them at City. Tosin, Cole Palmer, Romeo Lavia, Liam Delap and Jamie Gittins have all spent time at City. So much so, you almost wouldn't be surprised to see an Aguero or a David Silva rock up on an 8-year deal at some point. Under Maresca, Chelsea have clearly improved a lot. They finished 6 points and 2 places better off than the season before, as well as winning the Conference League and the Club World Cup. Maresca might be the ideal coach for a long-term rebuild, but Chelsea haven't proven they're capable of giving anyone the time to actually build something. If Chelsea's transfer strategy raised eyebrows, then BlueCo's broader ownership model might raise a few alarms. In 2023, the Boehly Clearlake consortium under the name BlueCo bought a majority stake in French club RC Strasbourg. That makes Chelsea part of a growing trend, the multi-club model. It sounds efficient and modern, but is it ethical or even fair? BlueCo is the umbrella group that owns Chelsea and Strasbourg and is reportedly eyeing more clubs in other leagues. The idea? To create a network of clubs that can share scouting, strategy, and most crucially, players. That brings us to the current concern, that Strasbourg fans are having their club torn apart and taken away from them. I went out there last season and let me tell you, their fans are not BlueCo fans, despite finishing in a European spot for the first time in years.
To me, it's like you might be eating the master's leftovers, but you're a slave. And some people might say, okay, that's better stuff at what we were used to. And some other people may say that, well, I'd rather be free, broke but free.
BlueCo, c'est pas plus mal. Il y a du bon, il y a du moins bon. Mais l'avantage, c'est qu'ils nous sortent de pas mal d'emmerdes financières. L'autre problème, c'est qu'il y a beaucoup de soucis par rapport à notre indépendance. Donc, c'est un peu trop tôt pour se positionner.
BlueCo out stickers and banners are everywhere you look in the relatively quaint city. Their fans feel as though the players there are owned by Chelsea, really, rather than their own team. and there's an evident divide between fans that has at times verged on a civil war. Strasbourg, of course, will be palmed off some of the best young talent in the world on loan this season, with Payet and Penders already there, and they'll probably take a few of Chelsea's discarded men too. But it all feels a bit off. It reminds me a bit of my mum and dad taking me to McDonald's after my first fish died. A small win, but at what cost? After £1 billion spent, 5 managers, a 12th place finish in the league, a Conference League trophy, and now being world champions, it's fair to ask, what exactly are Chelsea building? Because beneath all the chaos, the long contracts, the revolving door dugout, the Strasbourg subplot, there's a plan. Maybe. So let's try and piece it all together. 1. Young, high-ceiling talent. Forget proven stars in their prime. Chelsea want 19-year-olds or younger with 90-plus potential on Football Manager. You can get a few million added on top if they're South American or play for Brighton, but both is preferred. It's all about projecting future value. Buy now, dominate later. 2. Long contracts to beat the system. They pioneered the 8-year deal, not for employee job security, but to spread transfer costs and ease financial fair play pressure. That was until UEFA banned it, but it worked long enough to build a team, and a very, very talented one at that. 3. Their academy is a profit engine. This one is clever. Chelsea are turning Cobham into a cash machine, selling off fringe academy players for 100% profit on the books, while then promoting the best talent, the likes of Reece James, Levi Colwill, Tyreek George, Shinwoo Haker, and Joshua Chempong. They're gambling that at least a few of these will become £50 million players, but homegrown. 4th is the multi-club model for development. Strasbourg isn't some random French club you've never heard of. It's a satellite lab for Chelsea's overflow talent. Loan your 18-year-old star out, keep control, get him minutes in Ligue 1, then bring him back or sell him for a tidy profit. 5th, the last piece of the puzzle, world domination. Winning the Club World Cup was great PR, but it's also symbolic. Chelsea want to be a global superpower. They want to own the next 2 decades. But will the plan work? It's bold, it's futuristic, and it's a bit chaotic, but here's the real issue. Plans don't matter at all if the execution is a mess. After changing the manager 4 times, do Chelsea have the patience to give Maresca the time he needs when things go wrong? Because if they don't, this project will reset again and again and again, and Chelsea fans will be stuck in Groundhog Day.